All right, welcome back to Virginia this morning. It is always a great idea to be honest with your spouse or a significant other when it comes to your finances. Whether you're in a long-term relationship or really just starting one, it's critical to keep a clear line of communication open. Good friend of the show, financial advisor Jeremy Shipp, is back with us in studio and tackle some of these topic points to get the conversation rolling. Great to see you, Jeremy. It's a pleasure, my man.
Greg, thanks for having me.
Always. Jeremy, when you were starting out in a relationship, when do you have this conversation about money?
Well, it's never too early. And the most important thing about this is transparency. Complete transparency and honesty between the two partners. Look, in the dating phase, in the very beginning, it's all butterflies and unicorns flying around. We're going to the movies, going out to dinner, maybe taking a walk in the park. But when it gets a little bit more serious in a committed relationship, moving in together, now maybe we're actually marrying two households together, it's really important to have that transparency and honesty on the financial front so you can have a good baseline to build from.
Jeremy, what happens if the two individuals, they have a goal of becoming one, but they have individual goals as well, separate goals for themselves, and that really incurs spending money?
That's a great point, Greg, but that never happens, right? Everybody has the exact same goals moving forward.
Of course.
But, and yeah, that would be nice if we each had exact same goals where we want to go.
Right.
But that's not reality.
No.
Everyone has a little bit different idea as far as how they'd like to spend their days in retirement, what they envision for the future. But the main thing is if we have the same general direction we're trying to move, we can end up at the right spot. And the idea is we want to have and set clear expectations from the very beginning so that we know what our really ultimate goal and end outcome is we're trying to achieve.
What about when you decide maybe to move in together and maybe long-term relationship goes to marriage? How important is it to bring to the table a little transparency when it comes to spending habits and maybe the debt that you have?
It's crucial. I mean, that is a big, big piece. So if we think about it with the transparency in the front end, we have our baseline. Then with our goals and expectations, we know where we want to go. Now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty, right? The day-to-day, month-to-month operations of the household. All right, so that starts with your income, so we understand how much each partner is contributing financially to the relationship. Then that's going to dictate the spending patterns or the spending habits or the spending limits that are for each partner. There's going to be certain expenses that we can make on our own, some we probably want to check with. So for example, say somebody goes out and buys a new suit jacket for $300, comes home and, hey honey, check out what I got, and and say, oh, that looks great. But if that same somebody shows up in the driveway with a $35,000 new car, that might be a little bit different a conversation. So it's, those limits are going to depend based on their income. But then once we have the inflow and outflow understood, we get into that debt issue. And that is what can really wreck a lot of relationships. And as you said, if marriage is on the horizon, that legal union that we're getting to enter into, it becomes what's his is hers and vice versa. So you want to have a clear expectation, understanding of what the debt situation of is each partner before we get to that point.
Jeremy, do you know couples that maintain separate spending accounts? And is that a good idea?
I can't say whether it's a good or bad idea for everyone, but it is separate for each. I've seen some couples who have it all in one, some in separate, but I think that's why it's important to work with a financial professional to help around this area. And I mean, we're not marriage counselors, we're familiar with that, but sometimes I feel like a financial counselor. So I'll have couples in the office and we'll sit down, and I think what happens is it creates a nice safe space for each partner to express their true questions, concerns, goals, and desires because they have an objective third party they can share that with. And it's just nice to keep that out in the open because separate bank accounts, joint bank accounts, they both work but for different people. And it's nice to have that professional or that financial counselor to check in with about your finances.
Well, your financial counseling could prevent them going to a marriage counseling because how many problems do you find that arise because of the money issue with relationships?
It's one of the most common reasons cited for divorce, the financial issue. So, part of going to a financial advisor is help you be better with your money and save money. So if I can help save them from going to marriage counseling, I'm kind of doing my job in that case, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And I'm sure they're happier as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it comes back to that transparency, the clarity, understanding. As long as we have the true honesty between the two couples or the two people in the partnership, we can move forward and have that, safe space to go ahead and share and prevent that marriage counseling expense.
Being a financial counselor with these couples, have you seen, once they've had that conversation, a much more clear and direct goal for both of them when there are no questions?
That's one of the most fulfilling parts of what I do. Is the amount of clarity that I can bring to people and they can see here's where we really are, here's what we really own, here's the path where we want to go, and here's how we're going to get there. I mean, I tell my partners the most fulfilling part of my job is, not when somebody buys something from me, but when I can present the full picture to them. I remember late last year, I had a couple come